Good evening and welcome to Think About It Using Common Sense. I wasn't coming on today, but after listening to those hearings about the attempted coup on January 6th, I just could not uh, remain quiet and not come on and talk. It's amazing the uh, amount of information on top of the information that was already given or known concerning the um, coup attempt on our capital and our democracy um, by our ex-president and part of his administration. Um, and what is really disturbing? I mean, I'm not so surprised at Donald Trump. Okay? This is Donald Trump. And I think in the back of our minds, a lot of us are not, even though it happened and it shouldn't have happened, but just the fact that it's Donald Trump, I think we have a tendency to accept it a bit, more than we did if it was someone else. But what is more disturbing is the other Republicans that are in denial and supported, and are still supporting the insurrection, the refusal to acknowledge Joe Biden as our president, and the fact that the Republican vice president, he was running for his life. They was talking about hang the vice president. This is mind boggling. This is beyond mind boggling. And it's laid out what the Democrats have done. These are Republicans now that's exposing, telling the truth of what actually happened on that day and what was lead and what led up to that, and even what went on after that. These are Republicans, and we have Republicans that are in denial, that refuse to accept the process that uh, enabled them to become politicians or active working part of our government, and they're in denial. How is that possible? How is that possible? How is it possible that the American people cannot see that? Because we are responsible. When you elect these people in office, knowing what these people stand for and their mindset, so you are condoning. You are part of it, and because you are part of something, it doesn't make that something right. It just makes you a part of wrong. And the fuel, we got to use some common sense here and be realistic. And I tried to do that. But it boggles my mind how anyone can sit back and condone something like this that happened. And the politicians right now, Republicans right now, are still in denial, drawing a paycheck, and know that they're supporting a lie. Their own vice president, they was talking about hanging. And people that was involved in it have came out and confessed. Boggles my mind. And people can say whatever they want to say. If those were Afro Americans or black people, it would have never happened. Say what you want to say. It would have never happened. It would have never got that far. And it just doesn't make sense. I had to come on. I just had to talk about that a little bit. And they talk about all those the people that was at the Capitol that day. They was fearful of their life, and people lost their life. There were lives. There were excuse me. There were people who lost their lives on that day. This was serious. This is America. This is how great countries, great nations fall. They fall from within. And when you talk about inflation, you're talking about the rich and the poor. You're talking about those who have and those who do not have. And I mean, when you think about it, I try and get away from it, but you can't get away from your roots, you know. And they talk about socialism in this country. And they talk about blacks on welfare and blacks and people of color get this and get this. Nothing, nothing in this country was created for people of color except the jails. That's all. You talking back in the 18th, 17th, 1800s? Nothing. So there's a lot of white people that's in a bad place economically as well as people of color. A lot of people in these rural states, man, a lot of them. But one thing I notice sometime, I notice sometime whenever there's like a talk of inflation, things really start getting tight. You know, sometimes I notice that that's when kind of like fuel. That's when it feels like fuel is being poured uh, on racism. It comes out. You know, people start saying, "Well, why this person have that if I don't have it?" And this, but that's not the way. That's not the way. We all have to survive, and we have to survive together. That's the only way this country is going to make it. We have to work together, do things together, because if we don't, excuse me, if we don't, we're not going to make it as a country. And we can live. I mean, we can live together. I mean, we're separated. We're separated according to your paychecks. Man. You're separated according to your paychecks and according to your education. Education is important, determines the amount of your paycheck. Uh, Working together to take care of your neighborhoods. The price of real estate's going up. So guess what? You got to do more. You got to do more to preserve these things. You have to do more to take your life out of the hands of other people. That comes from seeing that your children are educated, making sure that your children go to college to become accountants, to become doctors, to become lawyers, that they can help. They can help you because if you don't have it, when you go to someone you paying two, three, $400 an hour, you only make minimum wage. How can you afford that? You can't. How can you afford to pay uh 12, 13, 14, $2,000 a month for rent, minimum wage, a little above minimum wage when the cost of living is steadily on the rise? You can't. Your children, they're not being educated properly. They're not being taught properly. How do you think they're going to live in the future? How do you think they're going to provide for themselves? They can't. And then if everything that they watch now on television is all about violence and sex. These young children, kids today, they might be 13, 14, 12, but their minds is 16, 17, 18 years old. They don't even know anything, and they think they do. They get pregnant, they get in trouble with drugs, and this. Next thing you know, their whole life is gone. And this is no joke. This is not a joke. Reality really set in when you are suffering the consequences of something that you thought wasn't real, or you thought the consequences was mediocre, but you sitting behind bars. You might be looking anywhere from 5 to 10 to 20 to life in prison for the rest of your life until you die. And here's a 13, 14-year-old girl with a baby, no job, don't even know who the father is. How are you going to live in a future that we are going into now? Gas prices $5.50, 49 and steady on the rise. You cannot survive. Politicians, they be talking about it, but the rich can afford it. The rich do not see inflation, people. I keep repeating it. I can't repeat it enough. I don't know how many people watch the podcast, but you need to listen. This is serious. This is serious. And those of us who have managed to make it, make millions of dollars, even become billionaires, you know, they forget. They forget. They haven't learned yet. They haven't learned. And some have, not all, but some have. But the rewards, the blessing comes in going back to your neighborhoods and helping them. How else do we get out? How else will people of color get out of this economic struggle that we're in, that we have been in, if we're not taught properly, if we don't have help? Educate the children, the parents, develop our own neighborhoods and communities. You need to do it. You can make money, and these properties is being built. It's some of the cheapest properties I've ever seen go up, and they're getting tons of money. But if you don't do something, the property is going to get developed one way or another because every time a child is born, the price of real estate goes up. It's not coming down. It's not. And we need to start working together. And this is the world. When there's a war, this country is threatened. And if there's a war, do you think they just come out and say, "Well, okay, you don't have to go," even though it has happened in the past? But I mean, the poor people fight wars. When you go in that foxhole, don't care what color you are, fight. You look out for one another. You know, if somebody trying to save you, you don't hey yo, you the wrong color. Go away. I don't want you to come in and help me fight or protect me. No, it's not how it is. And that's how it shouldn't be like that. And it's just like that, the same way in the foxhole, the same way it should be out of the foxhole. But we all got to be more responsible and take care of our families and our living situation, take care of this planet. We're in trouble. We are in trouble. History repeats itself. We should learn. We should learn from history. We haven't learned a thing, it seems like. Not a thing. Now, people talk about, I hear them talk about um, stimulus money. I'm not an economist, okay? But I do have some common sense. And they talk about the stimulus money. Oh, they said, well, Biden gave too much stimulus money out, and that's what caused inflation. But from what I saw, businesses was not doing very well. The economy was not doing very well before the stimulus. And the stimulus money, 1,400, $2,000 that went to people, that money was just what it said, stimulus. It was given to people to spend, not to save, to spend, to stimulate the economy. Business people, Wall Street, they got the bulk of the money. They did. Some business people got so much money they never even opened back up. But we've got to stop blaming for everything. If Biden isn't doing his job totally or to the best, then where are the Republicans to get in and help him make it bipartisan? But no, they stick back, they stand back, they go against everything the man try and do, but then they want to blame him when something goes wrong or if this isn't. They want to blame Biden for everything. Come on, man. The people have got to wake up because we should not be this stupid that they can just throw this mess out and it sticks on the wall. And just because it stick, we believe it. They come out and say stuff that totally doesn't even make sense. Don't tell me green is blue when I know what color green is. But you tell people green is blue, and guess what? They believe it. They believe it, and that's part of the problem. That's part of the problem. You know, people can have the guns, have all the guns you want to have it, but you got to have restrictions. You got to have restrictions on these people, especially when you see people are out of control with all this gun violence. And then I hear a politician say the other day, yesterday or something. Oh well, it's two things that's really holding us back, and we don't know whether or not the background check is just too too much or too in depth going into people. Give me a break, man. Kids are dying. People are dying every day. And some of this violence on television has to be curb some of this violence. But see what people don't understand about violence is just like violence is just like sex. In other words, sex is a is a natural. It's a natural order of things that attract male and female or the opposite sex or people that however your sexual whatever your sexual preference is, it attracts you to that. And violence attract people too. You see, that's why sex sells. You know, you the short dresses, you got fashions, and you got colognes, and you got hairstyles, and you got this. All that sells, sells. Does everything. And America is a capitalist country. It's about business. It's about business, and it's about making money. That's all. That's all. So be a part of it. You don't have to be, you learn the system. You learn it, you find out what it takes to become a part of it, you look at it, you understand it, what's needed, what do you need to do to prepare yourself for it, and guess what? Start doing it. Not doing it as individuals, but doing it as a people to help people, to help your brothers regardless of what color they are. We need to break that. We've been fighting this mess for a long time. Okay, we've been through it. You know? But guess what? Are we going to go through the rest of our lives, generations, being in the same position, doing the same thing? No, we got to rise above this. And we rise above it through education, through love, through trust, working together, and God, proper knowledge, spiritual knowledge, living it, not talking it, living it, taking care of your body, taking care of your mind. You have to stop doing things in the excess just because that we become of age and not an adult. An adult definition of adult, I think it should mean something. Um, a lot of people today I'm seeing, you know, they're not adults. They have age, but they're not adults. But in with coming of age, you can do something. In other words, instead you can go buy this and you can drink this, you can drink as much as you want and do this. But that's not the answer. You have to take responsibility for yourself and understand that your body and your mind is your vehicle. You know, your body, your mind is the captain of your ship. You have to take care of it. You can't do nothing laying up in a hospital sick. You can't do a thing. And we have to understand this. And these relationships, people, you got to get back. You know what? You got to come back to reality with these relationships. Everything is sex, 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 sex. Forget about it. Forget about it. Have respect for yourself. Then it's not about that, you know? There's a purpose for everything. When you really think about relationships between between your two people, the best and the most joyful part of the relationship is when it has been kept free from lust. You know, you're going out, you're enjoying each other's company, you're talking, you're holding hands, you're laughing, and you just you're friends. You're on the top of the mountain with friends. And soon as you bring sex into the picture, things change. Things change because number one, being a woman, you have given up all you have to give. The most important thing, all you have is yourself. And once you give that up, you have nothing else to give. And then once you start giving that up so freely, and then everything after a while, you have to take something and put it where it's supposed to be and make that special. And I think that's what's missing today in relationships. Um, they say almost 70% of marriages end in divorce. And today is a different time from 50, 50 years ago, 100 years ago. Um, Women felt as though they needed to get married. Women didn't have the opportunities that they have today. Um, they didn't have the freedom that they have today. So I think today women are less dependent on a man as they did years and years ago. Um, and believe it or not, women make up a major part of the workforce today. um, and that creates a lot of problems too. People act like they don't understand, see. But when you put women, and I'm not saying women shouldn't be in the military, but they should, maybe there's certain jobs that they should do in the military. I mean, physically, men and women are different. You know, their bodies are different. Things that women can do and do them as well as men, hey, by all means do it. But there are some things that men can do better than women, and there's things that women can do is better than men. That's just a fact. But the opposites attract. And anytime you put a man and a woman together out there in the battlefield, or out there in the jungle together in the military, you're gonna have problems. You can sit here and talk about what's supposed to be all you want to, but be realistic, you're gonna have problems. You're gonna have some problems. That's just the way it's gonna be. And a lot of problems like males and females cheating and on their mate. When you put them in the same workplace together, you're not talking about monks. I'm not don't people that's really uh spiritual and true to their faith. You know, unless you're that way, you're subject to cheat. People say, "Oh, I won't cheat," but have you been put to the test? And whether you believe it or not, if you spiritual now, And if you lust for someone, it's the same. It's the same as physically being with them. So it's a lot that we have to take responsibility for that goes with being human. Greed is terrible. Oh my goodness. Greed is a sickness. And I think people can say what they want to say. It is a sickness. It is. Our values are put in the wrong place. Values should not be on money. It should be on life. Values should be on health. You know? Uh, that's where your value on on education and helping humanity, making this earth a better place to live. That's values. And I think that's where our rewards, our humanly rewards come from helping humanity and helping this planet, being role models. Role models are gone, gone. I saw today? True. I'm telling you, I didn't believe my eyes. I saw a woman walking the street, had nothing on but some knit, uh, looked like knit pantyhose. That was it. Walking the street. You know, I just turned my head. Someone said a prayer. They do this like it's nothing. It's nothing. When you start losing, morality, you start losing spirituality, spiritual laws, God, and the value of it. That's when you start getting bad shape. Because the only thing separates man from animal is proper knowledge. If you don't have that, you do anything. Anything. And that seems to be what's happening today. You know? And technology is part of the problem too, because we're losing that human connection. You pick up a phone and all you talk to computers. You don't uh, pay a bill or something by a certain time. You only a number. Click. That's it. You don't talk to nobody. Nobody want to hear anything. So uh, nobody cares. They don't care. Uh, but we have got to start doing our part. And when inflation comes, not comes, it's already here. We have to cut back. Just cut back. You don't need to eat 3 meals a day to live. And you'll be a lot healthier too. But it's a habit, and we're addicted. We are addicted to sugar. We're addicted to eating certain times, often certain things. We're being programmed. All this deals with. Don't forget the economy. Capitalism is all about money, making money. But at the same time, the people at the top are making record profits off our ignorance, and all we doing is getting sick, unhealthy, stressed out. of our conditions. And we're bringing on ourselves. We have to stop. We have to stop. Um, I have appointment. You know, I do counseling, and I have a I've made appointment. I have appointment for Tuesday, and it's the thing about it is, I've he's a client I've talked with him before, and the reason why I'm mentioning him is behind the fact that you know when he called me and I knew he had we work on the problem that he's having, but I just said you got to be able to have someone that you can talk to, you know. And what made me feel good about it, he said, Lou, he said, I can talk to you. You understand, I can be myself with you and eventually, he said, him and his wife will come and talk. And the thing about it is, I'm not just talking with a something I've learned in a book. Talking with just common sense. We just sit there and talk in common sense, and it works. It works. But I'm not going to be here talking too much today because today is a day that uh, I hadn't planned to talk. I plan to talk tomorrow, but after those hearings today, man, and the information that's being uh, brought forth, how those people did, and how these Republicans are refused to acknowledge what happened, how they are in denial and still maintaining uh, office. I'm not going to say integrity because they don't have that. That's gone. They would never have that. You don't cross a line like that and maintain it and forget about the American people and put yourself and money ahead of the American people. And then don't even mention God when you take an oath to protect and serve and obey, and this is what you do. You don't believe in God. You just say it. It's just a process that people go through. But I'm not anyone's judge. But if people only knew, we got to pay for it. People have to answer for everything that you do, every thought that you think. And I started talking about that one day, and I'm gonna talk about it again. But I'm gonna make a whole show just of that, not talk about something else and then go into that because we need to know. We need to know that how real things really are, and we don't. We have lost touch with reality. That's why when something major happens, tragic, first thing people have for, oh God, God help me, thank you, God, thank you, because reality hit them at that point. But it ain't just at that point; it's every day, every minute, every second. Reality is here. This is what we need to be aware of, and I just hope that we do it. We do it for our children, do it for ourselves in the future. We don't do it for the future, we can forget it because that's why we're in the situation that we're in now. It's because we have not did what is necessary to make us a successful race of people. We've not did that. That's why we're where we are. What about Africa? What about our brothers and sisters over in Africa? Totally disconnect. Totally. Shouldn't be like that. Shouldn't be like that. So hopefully, hopefully we need to start something. Uh, and maybe we will start something. So on that note, thank you very much for giving me uh, some time today, some of your time. Uh, but we really need to thank you so much. You have a good day.